Hi, my name is Anonymous. Sometimes a person sets out to destroy their enemy, only to realize that the trap they laid has caught their own foot. Today, I am going to share two terrifying true stories with you. These are not movie plots. These are real events that happened to real people who listen to this very channel. Sometimes they send me pictures and videos as proof, things so disturbing my own heart trembles, but I cannot share them to protect their privacy. Before we begin, I suggest you recite Ayatul Kursi. When we talk about these unseen entities, they tend to lean in. They get curious about what we are saying. So protect yourself, turn on the lights, and our first story comes from Majid. Since childhood, Majid was a quiet, innocent boy. He minded his own business, stayed away from fights, and focused on his studies. Up until the 5th grade, his life was perfectly normal. But then, a strange stubbornness took over him. He wanted to change schools. His mother warned him, saying, "Son, do not leave a place of peace without a good reason." But Majid didn't listen. The moment he stepped into the new school, he realized his mistake. The environment was toxic. Because Majid was a brilliant student, the teachers praised him, but this praise planted a seed of jealousy in the heart of a quiet boy in his class. This boy slowly befriended Majid, but it was a trap. For the next 3 years, this friend made Majid's life a living hell. He would humiliate him in front of everyone, hide his books, and mentally torture him in private. Majid never told his parents. He just absorbed the pain. But by the 8th grade, that innocent boy was gone. Inside him, a dark, heavy anger began to grow, a thirst for revenge. One night, scrolling through his phone in the dark, Majid found a video of a spiritual healer, an occultist. The man claimed he could punish anyone who had wronged him. Blinded by rage, Majid contacted him. The man asked his enemy's name and age. Then he warned Majid, "The ritual I am giving you, once you start it, there is no going back." Majid didn't care. He performed the dark ritual in absolute secrecy. He thought he was finally getting his revenge, but in reality, he was opening a door. And whatever was behind that door was now coming for him. Days passed. His enemy was perfectly fine, but Majid began to change. It started with a feeling of being watched. When the lights went out, he felt a presence in the corner of his room. Then his sleep shattered. He would wake up with a violently beating heart. He started hearing footsteps right outside his bedroom door. Light, slow steps, but when he opened the door, nothing. Then came the whispers. He would hear someone calling his name right next to his ear. When he turned around, the room was empty. He started seeing dark shadows in the corners of his eyes. Soon he was talking to himself out loud without realizing it. Finally, he collapsed. He started getting violent seizures. Doctors were completely helpless. The medicine made him worse. When he looked in the mirror, he didn't recognize his own hollow eyes. The revenge he sought was eating him alive. Salvation came in the form of a dream. Majid's father dreamt of a holy elder who told him, "Your son has taken a dark path. Bring him back before he is lost forever." His father sat him down and asked him directly. Majid finally broke. He cried and confessed everything: the occultist, the ritual, the revenge. His father didn't shout. He just sighed and said, "Son, when you turn away from God to solve a problem, the solution becomes the curse." With intense spiritual guidance and medical help, Majid slowly recovered. The shadows vanished. The voices stopped. Today he is living a normal life, but sometimes when he wakes up in the middle of the night, for just a second, he feels that old terror. He remembers that some doors are very easy to open, but almost impossible to close. Our next story is from Roxana. It takes us back to the UK in the year 2011. Roxana was the eldest of 8 siblings. The youngest was her brother, Imran. Even though he was the youngest, he was the tallest, the strongest, and the protector of the family. He was the anchor of their home. One day, Roxana's sister went to the local shop and took unusually long to return. When she finally came back, she was acting completely different. She explained that she had met a Pakistani couple who introduced her to a man. This man needed a UK visa, and he wanted to marry her. Suddenly, the sister became obsessed. She wouldn't listen to reason. She insisted on marrying this complete stranger. Imran, being the protector, stepped in. He said, "Bring him to the house. Let me talk to him." The next day, the man arrived with the couple. Imran sat across from him, staring right into his eyes. Imran didn't shout. He calmly reached for a copy of the Holy Quran, placed it on the table, and said, "If your intentions are pure, put your hand on this and swear you will take care of my sister." The room went dead silent. The man hesitated. He made an excuse, saying he didn't have wudu. Imran pointed to the bathroom and said, "Go make wudu then." The man's face turned pale. He started stuttering, and finally he completely refused. Imran looked at him with disgust and kicked them all out of the house. They thought the problem was solved. They didn't know that the enemy had already crossed their threshold. A few days later, Roxana got a frantic call from Imran. He said, "Sister, come quickly. My chest feels incredibly heavy." When she arrived, she found Imran standing outside, clutching his chest. Suddenly, he started coughing violently. He bent over, coughing so hard he couldn't breathe, and then he spat something out. It wasn't phlegm. It was blood, but it was completely pitch black. They rushed him to the hospital. The doctors were terrified. They had never seen anything like it. They called in specialists from other hospitals. After testing the black substance, the doctor called the family into a private room. They looked down and said, "We don't know what this is. None of his symptoms make sense, but he only has a few weeks to live." Imran, the strongest boy in the house, was fading away. The coughing spells echoed through the house every night. Seeing no medical cure, the family decided to take him for Umrah. In Medina, Imran felt a strange peace, but his body was still breaking down. When they returned, they called a religious sheikh to perform ruqya, an Islamic exorcism. The sheikh covered the mirrors, dimmed the lights, and began reciting the Quran. Suddenly, from outside the room, the women heard Imran's body thrashing. His legs were kicking violently. He was gasping for air. Then, dead silence. The sheikh walked out, his face pale and serious. He looked at the family and said, "A very dark magic, sihr, was done on him. But it is too late. The physical damage is done. What is written will happen." A few days later, In the hospital, Imran asked to take a bath and pray his salah. He knew his time was up. Later that afternoon, he called Rukhsana to his bedside. He was wearing an oxygen mask. He took her hand, his grip was still strong, and smiled. He pulled down his mask and whispered, "Look, sister, the blood isn't black anymore, it's yellow." Then he looked at her one last time and whispered, "Sister, I am going now." The machines flatlined. The doctors rushed in, but Imran was gone. He looked completely peaceful, free from the pain. To this day, the doctors could never explain the black blood, but the family knows the truth. The curse was brought to their doorstep by the people Imran kicked out. Imran sacrificed himself to protect his sister. This was Rukhsana's story. May Allah grant Imran the highest place in paradise. These stories prove that not all illnesses are medical, and not all enemies fight you face to face.